Greetings, my name is Shlackman. I work as a holistic counselor as well as a hypnotherapist and energy healer. In this video, I would like to speak about the topic of health care and promote kind of a paradigm shift in how we think about and approach health care, especially in our modern managed care-oriented system where medicine tends to focus a lot on treating symptoms, on quote-unquote fighting disease, rather than getting to the roots of what has led to disease and what would actually recreate or restore health. So health doesn't come from just suppressing symptoms or fighting against signs of illness. Health comes from living in harmony with ourself, with our spiritual source, with other human beings, living in harmony with nature and with the needs of our physical body. So if we're addressing all those factors, then we wouldn't be getting so much illness or disease, and ultimately we would be spending less time dealing with illness, more time actually enjoying life and thriving and creating things that we value and appreciate. If we're dealing with illness all the time, we don't get to be as productive and creative as we otherwise would. Especially in America and much of the modern so-called industrialized world, there's a lot of time and money and resources being spent on health care, and the outcomes, the actual state of health of the population, seems to be getting worse and worse. You have, statistically speaking, more people suffering from many types of so-called mental illness, more people having heart diseases and cancer and autoimmune illnesses, allergies, all these other conditions or symptoms that reflect the state of stress or actually distress that we're experiencing both physically and psychologically. If we wish to promote healing, rather than focusing on mechanistically treating things, on trying to identify a very specific label for a disease or disorder and a very specific standardized medical treatment, we could actually instead look at each person as an individual interacting with their environment, their biological environment, and their psychosocial environment, and seeing what's going on in those interactions that's actually leading to disease or illness, and what can we do that actually nurtures a person, that reduces the burden of stress that they're exposed to, that gives them the opportunity to rebalance, to refresh and reharmonize their being. That approach would involve more of looking at food and diet and nutrition, at exercise, at lifestyle, how much time are we spending indoors in congested air, looking at LED screens that are interfering with our circadian rhythms, how much time do we spend socializing with other people in ways that are rewarding and fulfilling, that give us meaning or a sense of purpose, that help us feel valued and appreciated, that we're contributing something to our family, to our community. Those are really important factors in our health, and if you just go to a doctor, that doctor examines you, gives you some blood tests or other types of tests, and says, oh, you have this diagnosis, this disease, and this is a medication that's used to treat that. You're never actually addressing the cause of your illness or distress. you're actually in some way blocking or shutting down a feedback mechanism. You're creating some form of denial, some form of numbing yourself to reality where you're not facing what your body is actually telling you. You're just trying to continue on the path or routine that you've been living in. That's the reason you created this situation to begin with. So rather than suppressing symptoms, rather than trying to kind of fight or go to war with what we think is an illness, rather than looking at our body as somehow defective, we can reframe our understanding and see that our body is actually showing or revealing something to us about how we're treating our body or how we're feeling in our consciousness, especially with our emotional functioning, how we feel about our life, our relationships, our path and purpose. If we work on those issues, we wouldn't be needing to continually keep taking lots of medications, seeing doctors all the time. We would be accessing our own self-healing capacity. We would be supporting our body's own desire to maintain a state of equilibrium, to be energized, to be healthy and thriving. If we're only suppressing symptoms, we tend to get caught in what I call a dependency trap, where the source of the issue is never actually resolved. We're continuing to create the stress or cause the disturbance that's leading to those symptoms, and eventually the medications or treatments we're using to try to override those symptoms won't be effective, they won't work anymore. That feedback mechanism will actually get stronger. It'll go even further, trying to alert us to the reality that there's something out of balance, something distressing happening that we need to actually confront and make some change or address in some way. So that's really the key paradigm shift that I'm suggesting, that we shift away from this symptom suppression model, from this labeling and medicating model, to a model that looks at the true source of what creates health and taking constructive action in our life to heal our stresses and traumas, to nurture and nourish ourselves in ways that enable us to feel positive about ourselves and our lives, to help us truly thrive and be in harmony with the flow of life, that creative energy that gives us our life force, that gives us our health. I hope that this has given each of you some things to think about and consider, whether you're a lay person or a healthcare professional. How do you address these health challenges that may arise in your life or the people that you interact with? What can you do to actually support long-term health and well-being? This may mean you need to make changes in your life or changes in the types of health care that you're seeking out or that you're providing and delivering to other people. I appreciate you taking the time to view this video. For those that are looking for holistic health resources, I invite you to visit my website, phinsights.com. That's spelled PHINSIGHTS.com. For now, I wish everyone a wonderful day. Namaste.